Hello everyone and welcome to another Logic Pro tutorial from Roaring Records. I'm very glad that you guys are watching this today, and I know the title of this video is a little bit funny, what to watch in Logic, but I want to stress some ideas to you, but I will make this caveat. You're making music in Logic Pro or audio recordings in Logic Pro. Your ears are always the answer. However, there are a few important things that you can do inside of Logic to make sure your ears are functioning as good as possible, and that you're not making some mistakes that your ears might not lead you to. Logic does a pretty good job of protecting you on a few things, but there are some things to watch out for. One of them is in this track inspector. If you're not familiar with using the track inspector, you get to it by clicking on this I button right here or using the I on your typing keyboard. The track inspector tells you several things. When you click on a track, it shows you what effects are currently being added to that track. And then it has the meter and fader down here at the bottom. Now that same meter and fader are showing up right here in this screen. But the other thing the track inspector provides is where that signal is going. And that's on this side of the track inspector. And you'll notice right now this is set to the stereo output. So this is your final mix. Where does this trapdoor sound end up? In the stereo output combined with everything else. So what you're seeing is the final product. So I'm just going to play a little bit and let you see what happens. So what have we seen right here? Well, we've seen this meter jump up and down, telling us what the post fader volume level is on this track. And right now it's at -2. That is acceptable for what we're shooting for. The other thing you've seen is that the master fader, or the final project, is at -1.5. For a more advanced Logic user that is looking to have a track mastered, you probably don't want things to be this high. You probably want to be them at somewhere between -10 and -6 so that you leave headroom for your mastering position. But if you're new to Logic and you're writing for the first time, what we really don't want to have happen at all is this to go into the red, because the red would mean that we are clipping on our sound, meaning we are pushing our signal beyond what the computer is actually reading, and that would be a bad thing. So you can clip on an individual track or you can clip on the master. I'm going to try to make my point by using this electric bass, and a lot of people will get into their equalizer when they first get started and go, oh man, this EQ button, it gives my bass just a lot more, see? And they're like, well, if a little bit of bass is a good thing, which now this bass is hitting at -0.5, then a lot of bass is a great thing, right? Oh no, now not only has that track gone into the plus numbers, but so has the master fader. So I'm going to bring this back down a lot. I hope I did not hurt your ears if you were listening in headphones. If I did, I'm terribly sorry. Did not mean to. But that would be an example of trying to get too much out of Logic. Now, what if you're like, I was just then able to hear the bass in my track? That probably means that your computer volume is too low. This is more dealing with gain staging and getting that right from an electronic standpoint. So you want to make sure that you have the actual external volume on your audio interface. Say something like this. You want to make sure that your headphone volume is set where you would like it to, at an appropriate level to be able to mix correctly. You should not have to have these numbers jump into the red, because that's clipping and that's distortion, and that's really not a good thing. So that is a thing to watch. Another thing to consider is just looking at your audio levels in the meters like this, or if you want to see them in the full-on mixer, you can click this and see them all down here. A little more easy to see. From this, you can naturally see what your loudest instruments are. So if you're trying to build a track with something specific as the focus, you can come in here and be like, oh, my drums are probably more the loudest thing that I'm listening to, which is closely followed by the melodic electric guitar, or the bass line, excuse me, then the slide guitar is slightly less, and the horns are slightly less. So from a mixing perspective, you can use your eyes to see if you're getting about the volume. But again, I must stress, your ears are the final determining factor. If it doesn't sound good, then forget looking at stuff. Make it sound good. Adjust your faders and such so that it sounds good. Hope you found this helpful. If you did, like and subscribe. Thanks.